Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the Pro Wrestling Show. We're a day late, but right now, as you see right here, Powerhouse Hobbs. We told you last week he won the Face of the Revolution award by winning that ladder match. But a week later, Powerhouse Hobbs has the TNT Championship. We'll talk about that within 1 week's time. Also, too, all these matches and stuff right here, and all these segments and stuff that we're going to get to, that'll be coming up next week. But right here, from AEW from last night, right here, Powerhouse Hobbs takes on Warlow for the TNT title. I'll tell you that. Orange Cassidy takes on Jay Lethal in the opening match, as well as trios match. The Jericho Appreciation Society take on AR Fox and Top Flight, as well as Ricky Starks. We'll hear from Ricky Starks. Heyman Adam Page, Ruby Soho versus Sky Blue. And the Blackpool Combat Club, they showed themselves tonight in one way or another. We'll talk about this as Pro Wrestling Show presents the AEW Dynamite Ring Report. It starts now. Edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. We're a day late, $1 short, but hey, we're gonna give you the AEW Ring Report. I'm your host as always, Kendrick Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect, and don't forget subscribe. Subscribe, Miss Ken. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. Don't forget also too tonight, immediately after this live screen on Connect TV YouTube channel, the tape will come on shortly. So look for the tape coming your way. If you saw some of the preview earlier, we're doing the free advertisement. Go see the tape. Talking about the infamous Chris Rock Netflix special. You'll hear from that, but that's kind of like off topic, but we'll get to that a little bit later. As you see all these matches right here, we're gonna kick off with the All Atlantic Championship as Orange Cassidy took on Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal and Orange Cassidy had their match, and what a match it was. Orange Cassidy get the win over Jay Lethal. Compared the matchup in between, Orange Cassidy get the win, but from behind, Double J Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett came out of nowhere and hit Orange Cassidy with his leg. Jeff Jarrett, infamous hitting folks with guitar these days. I can kind of remember Jeff Jarrett hit a lot of people. He hit Gary Coleman, the late great Gary Coleman, with a guitar. Beetlejuice with a guitar. And the list goes on and on. He hit everybody with a guitar. Well, coming from that, after the match, AEW president Tony Khan made this huge announcement. AEW president Tony Khan said that this is going to happen. He said that the AEW All Atlantic Championship will be rechristened and will be named the International Championship, which that's kind of smart. You want to be more prestigious up there with the Intercontinental Championship, so it makes sense. The AEW International Championship. I guess that's his version of the Intercontinental title, but Orange Cassidy will be recognized as the first holder of the International Championship. Orange Cassidy has his work cut out for him as he will go against Jeff Jarrett next week for the International Championship. So it's no longer the All Atlantic Championship. It'll be called the International Championship going forward. So Tony Khan made that decree tonight, last night, that the championship will be called the International Championship, which it makes sense. The AEW International Championship. Well, a nice ring to that as well. Speaking of that, we get to also other news and stuff that Ricky Starks came out there after he won his match against Chris Jericho, but he got kicked from Juice Robinson. Ricky Starks now starting a new feud with Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson coming from New Japan. I don't know Juice is going to be a part of AEW. What's going on with the talent sharing agreement? But looking forward to seeing Juice making an impact, kicking off Ricky Starks' head. I think Ricky Starks even saw Bullet Club right here and was noticing. And that's when Juice Robinson came out there and did what he did. Also, too, Ruby Soho joined Paige and Tony Storm. Ruby Soho now a found new member. I guess she's the anti-AEW girl group that don't came into the company as the WWE didn't want them no more. And so now she won a match against Sky Blue, and they spray painted Sky Blue. You see Paige right there. Ruby Soho kind of it's like the Riot Squad all over again, but minus Liv Morgan and what's her name? Valhalla. Well, Ruby Soho explained her actions and why she did what she did to Renee Moxley Good, Renee Paquette. Renee Paquette interviewing Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho started saying she blamed the fans for her misfortunes, that she's no longer the AEW, she couldn't be the AEW Women's Champion. A lot of people are talking about and saying about that it could be a blood and guts battle between these women, and we had to see as it goes through. Everybody war games going for women. Well, AEW trying to put women in war games. Their version of war games. Speaking of that, Tony Schiavone interviewed FTR. FTR made a return back at the Revolution pay-per-view. FTR had a lot off their chest. They come back to get one thing only: to get the World Tag Team Championships away from the Guns. The Guns didn't, and maybe the Gun Boys now can't wrestle away the championship, but you can tell that there's a lot going on. So we just have to wait and see on that one, how that's going to play out. But the Guns better be on notice. FTR is coming for the AEW Tag Team titles. Speaking of Renee Young spoke with Jerry Cargill. Jay continue on his historic reign as TBS champion. No one has him defeat her, and her streak continues to grow as it mounts. One thing about Jade knows a thing or two about how to mount her comeback. So look for Jade probably saying Chris Statlander might get the championship, wrestle her away from it. So we have to look forward and see that. Speaking of that, interesting note, the Dark Order are now the new AEW Royal Trios Tag Team Champions. The Dark Order didn't waste no time whatsoever. They called out the Elite and the Jericho Appreciation Society. They're going to defend their belts against everybody. Jericho got history. He got Daniel Garcia, Sammy Guevara as the Elite, want their titles back. So there's a lot going on with that. I mean, this is getting more interesting than the daylights. When you ask me, you got 3 teams vying for the Trios Tag Team Championship, and Jericho wants it. Jericho wants some gold, and he's looking for some gold in 2023. Tell you that right now. Speaking of that, Renee Moxley Goose call up with Heyman Page after what Heyman did to John Moxley. I'm surprised why Renee's interviewing him. It's kind of like a conflict of interest, but Heyman almost choked the daylights out of John Moxley. And John Heyman believes this feud is far from over, but this feud is the only beginning as the Blackpool Combat Club attacked the Dark Order and choked them out. Heyman came out there to the rescue. I think this is far from over between these teams. I'm telling you, Heyman and Moxley, they had what a match that was. Heyman took Moxley to the limit. And he took him to the limit, all right, when he did what he did. But Moxley looked like a Crimson Man, as you ask me. So hey, we just have to wait and see on that one, on how that's gonna go between them and stuff, sooner rather than later. Speaking of that, world champion MJF, he done it all. He's been in dog collar matches. He's been in this Iron Man match. They're trying to test him to be kind of like he's Iron Man, and he go do this to anyone puts through him. Well, MJF defeated Brian Danielson. Brian Danielson himself looked like he shell of a man. He got defeated, tapped out. Now he wants to go home. But go home to your family and reevaluate yourself. But MJF, he's supposed to be coming back next week, and he's gonna have a having a rebar mitzvah. We'll see that's gonna around later. MJF survived through everything that all these veteran wrestlers got to him. With the God calling match with CM Punk won, but MJF bleed. MJF used Danielson only move, the LeBell lock, to win the match to make Danielson pass out. Speaking of that, you see right here, the former tag team champions, The Acclaim, joking that is, and what's his name? They didn't take that lightly, and you can tell there's a feud from the start between them. Eventually, some way down the road. So hey, know how they want to go and how they're going to be headed forward and stuff. Hey, all right. Let's see what else. What's the main event? We told you last week. There was the Face of the Revolution event. You see Powerhouse Hobbs emerged victorious in the match with the brass ring to earn himself a future TNT Championship match that week. The following week was this week. Powerhouse Hobbs had, I don't know if they did something. They plot orchestrated Wardlow. He lost his gear, his title. We don't know if it's true or not. Powerhouse Hobbs won the TNT Championship. Whoever did that to Wardlow, taking his gear and his title, they need to be ashamed of themselves. And I want to know, how can you sleep at night knowing that you stole something? It just to me, it's beyond me when you think about that. But Powerhouse Hobbs, this ain't got nothing to do with him. He won the TNT Championship, but off topic with the situation with Wardlow, having his stuff stolen like that, people ought to be ashamed of themselves. I don't think like people don't have no grace no more. When you ask me, Powerhouse Hobbs defeated Wardlow by with the aid and the help of this man, QT Marshall. Wardlow win the TNT Championship. That's why they was talking about QT Marshall was talking about QTV. Didn't know exactly what he was talking, what he meant by that, but now we got a perfect idea on what had happened. Powerhouse Hobbs enlisted the services and the help of QT Marshall. I don't know if he's an associate or a manager. You could say a manager, but we'll get to see him. They have to elaborate next week on why Powerhouse Hobbs and QT Marshall joined forces to take down Wardlow. We'll get to that. Well, we know next week. On AEW. We hopefully we'll be back on the perfect time. MJF will have his rebar mitzvah ceremony after defeating Brian Danielson at Revolution. The International Championship is online. Orange Cassidy takes on Jeff Jarrett. The House of Black takes on the Trio. The Elite and the Jericho Appreciation Society for the Trios titles. So we'll get to see that. It's going to be a wild match. I'll tell you that right now. Well, that's going to end the AEW Dynamite Ring Report. Let's move forward to Wrestling Hot Topics. On Wrestling Hot Topics, we'll talk about this. Amazing. Bad Bunny will host Backlash on Saturday, May 6th, live from some arena in Puerto Rico where they had New Year's Revolution. Bad Bunny comes back to WWE at Backlash, and he will host Backlash that May. Speaking of that, could this man be WWE bound? We're hearing that what's his name? Brian Cage could be WWE bound. He could be joining the likes of Cody Rhodes going from AEW to WWE. It could be a possibility, but it could be true. But as you see right here, could you see Brian Cage and AEW? But they said it's a contract, but he hesitant to sign it because he don't want to be kind of like pushed and then de-pushed. So, I mean, most wrestlers look at the money and stuff. That's That's why they look at. But he'll make the right choice, and then he got his wife. She'll guide him to where he needs to go, what he has to do. So look forward. I think Cage gonna stay with AEW. I'll tell you that right now. Speaking of that, Johnny Gargano, he's coming back to NXT. Uh, I don't know if this is official. He's officially going to NXT, or you just participating just to go to Raw. I think this just him going to NXT to have a WrestleMania sort of match. So I think that's the feeling his WrestleMania going to NXT and then WrestleMania that night. So he'll be wrestling that morning and stuff. So hey, as long as you made it to something like at least WrestleMania or close to WrestleMania, all under one umbrella. And I think fans were kind of getting on him about that, but you don't care. You said, "Hey, I'm here," and they kind of finished business, so that kind of makes sense to me. Grayson Waller took you out of NXT, and now you want to get your retribution at Grayson Waller. It kind of makes sense. So it comes full circle when you think about it. So, like, you know, all right, we're gonna leave you this. So tomorrow is the SmackDown Ring Report. We'll have coverage on the SmackDown Ring Report. So join us tomorrow after SmackDown, hopefully. SmackDown Report. I've been your host, Kendrick Dick, saying so long and thank you for watching the Pro Wrestling